Happy podcast day, Falcon Paladin.
Thank you, Somicron. It is a hot day here and a cold day there, as it is this time of year.
It's a little bit chilly. Yeah,
Yeah,
getting there.
not as hot as it gets here or cold as it gets there, but it's the beginning.
Yeah, apparently it's, let me do the conversion to Fahrenheit. It's about 55 degrees here.
Ooh, yeah, it's getting on the chilly side. Certainly is. Almost pants weather, probably pants weather.
I am wearing shorts.
Yes, excellent. Good job. You're also in like a friggin' sunroom, so I bet it's warmer in there than it is outside.
No, well, it's warmer in here because I had the heater on all morning. Yeah, but,
Yeah.
this place doesn't get any sun. It's called a sunroom. It gets no sun.
How? It gets no sun?
Yeah, because the sun's, like, over there, and then as it rises, it's behind the house. Like, they built the sunroom at the back of the house, facing south.
Geniuses. All of them. So when you were looking at the house, you're like, ooh, nice, a sunroom. Or did you figure it out? You're like, wait a second. This house is in the wrong place. This room's in the wrong place for that.
I mean, I definitely didn't even consider how much sun I would get. I was like, sweet, an extra room to put shit. And
Gotcha.
that I'm the shit that gets put in. So
Foreboding.
it turns out that this is where the the Wi-Fi router has to go. Like, this is where our access point is. So it plugs in here, and my computer at the time was the only one that didn't have Wi-Fi. So I needed a hard connection, and it was either run like a 200-yard cable or just put my desk down here. So
Yeah. Good call. Good call. That is funny, though. You're like, ooh, new room for stuff. And then you were the stuff.
I was the stuff.
Yes. That's really funny. All right. Do we have any StarCraft 2 to talk about?
I don't believe so, but I was just looking at all the upcoming and most recent tournaments, and I happened to notice that the ESL Masters regional tournaments for America, Europe, and Asia, Americas and Asia are listed as major tournaments, but Europe is listed as a premier tournament. Like, it gets
What the?
special qualifications, I guess, for having better players.
Yeah.
Don't know, just is. Maybe it's the prize pool. It also has 34 grand more than America and 41 more thousand than Asia.
Yeah, I'm way more concerned with Asia because Korea is in Asia. I'm less concerned about America because we don't have any good players out here. So
I don't. Is it Asia? Asia? Yeah, it's Asia, not Korea, Asia. So it's all the Chinese players.
oh, that's funny. Asia excluding South Korea. Parentheses.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's funny. Yeah, good call. So that's interesting.
It's just a fun fact for you.
It is fun StarCraft 2 fact for us today.
But yeah, other than that, nothing to talk about, I believe.
Okay, sounds good. All right, then. I mean, I don't know. I sent you the link to an article about the called Brave New World. Brave New
I
World.
knew you were going to do that.
Brave New World. Is it still called that? The
Captain
America movie without
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
As far as I'm aware, the name of it has not changed. It is still Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay.
Which I believe is directly referencing your series of StarCraft 2 casts featuring beginner
Correct.
players. Yes.
It is.
And
yes.
nothing else, because you invented that.
I invented that. As a take on nothing. It was built on nothing. It was not standing on any giant's shoulders at all.
No, of course not.
Pure creativity.
Yeah, so you sent me an article about it getting reshoots, a pretty mundane thing in filmmaking, as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
But of note is that they did do some publicity about having Giancarlo Esposito join the cast, who everyone will remember as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, or that bad guy from one of the Far Cry games.
Far Cry 6. Yep.
Yeah, sure, I didn't like the game. Too much forced stealth, but then I didn't get past the tutorial because it's like...
I never played it.
You have to stealth out of this building. And I'm like, I'm not playing the game.
It's like, but this is Far Cry. Let me play how I want. If I want to blow stuff up, let me do that.
Precisely. But no.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so apparently he's been, like, marketed as, hey, he's joining the cast of this movie, and we're doing some reshoots to put him in.
Right.
Which, neat.
Which, here's why I brought it up. Because, yes, reshoots are normal. You film a movie, you're like, here it is. And then the director's probably like, I don't like how this turned out. Or this production studio's like, let's change this, let's add this.
Or some
Totally
screening
normal.
audiences were like, I don't quite get it. And they just, go and tighten things up.
Yeah, totally normal. But I can't think of the last time I heard a movie be like, you know what this needs? Giancarlo Esposito as a villain that didn't exist in the first run of the movie. What the hell? Okay.
Well,
So he comes back for 22 days, shoots a whole bunch of stuff, and now he's a bad guy in the film.
Well, here's
What?
here's the thing. This article is nondescript as to whether or not the villain which he is playing already existed in the film, and they've simply decided to recast the character, or maybe he was a masked character, and now they're just like, no, actually, you know what? This would be better if this villain had a face. So we don't know if they're like, well, we needed to reshoot the entire thing because we needed a whole new villain here. I don't think that's what they're saying, especially with a 22-day filming schedule. I don't think this is major rewriting the whole plot to make Gus Fring the villain.
You could, though, because look, this is a political thriller, and political thrillers a lot of the time are like something sneaky's going on. It's a mystery, and you don't know who's behind it until like the end or the final third of the film, right? Yeah. So we could just not show Gus Fring for the first 2/3 of the movie, and he can still be the big bad.
I suppose, but I feel like in a thriller, you want to like kind of give the audience like a whole bunch of pieces to play with and figure out as like the on-screen talent does.
Yeah. And so like he shows up for a scene at the start of the film, and then a scene in the middle of the film, and then he's the big bad for the final third. Easy.
Yeah, maybe, but like just by like the economy of screen time, I feel like, well, there's a guy, like, if that's the case, they've ruined the movie for everyone going to go see it, because, like...
They have. Yes.
Because, like, who's the person who has some screen time and is not, in other ways, like, ruled out of being the bad guy? Oh, it must be this guy that they've specifically told us is in the movie for important reasons.
Well, no, they said he's a villain.
That feels like important reasons in a superhero movie.
Right, but I'm saying, yes, they've ruined it. They cannot have Giancarlo Esposito in the film as anything other than a bad guy. Because if he shows up as a good guy, everyone's going to be like, no, we read the Hollywood Reporter article. He's a bad guy, and the reveal will do nothing.
Right, but like they've also ruined it if it's a thriller movie and the twist is he's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
That's
think
what I just said.
Right, but well, if he just shows up as a bad guy, but he's like a henchman, that's not a huge ruin. It's like, oh, hey, we knew he was going to be a bad guy. Look, turns out he's a henchman, right? Like, he's a mercenary. He's a hired gun. But he's not. It depends on how important he is to the film, right? Like,
yeah, but there's no way they cast Giancarlo Esposito to be anything as a henchman, right? You don't cast him to be fourth level guy guarding a warehouse for the bad guys in Colombia. You know what I mean? He's in charge in some way. He's number 2, or like maybe, I don't know. He cannot be just a run-of-the-mill guy with a gun.
I'm not saying he is Nameless Mook number 46, right?
Okay.
But what I'm saying is he is not the mastermind pulling all the threads. Like, that is also not... It's not going to be his role in this movie. If it is, it's wild for them to be, like, telling us all this information now.
Yeah.
Because I think that would just scream our utter lack of confidence. Please go see our movie. It has star power.
I mean, if you were Disney, would you have a huge amount of confidence in anything you put out right now? Yeah. I would not.
Sure. I would have huge confidence in the upcoming Deadpool movie.
I don't know, man. I'd be worried about that too, to be honest, if I was them. I'd be extra worried about this new Captain America movie and a little bit worried about the Deadpool film.
Have you seen the popcorn bucket that they're going to have for the Deadpool film?
No, but I feel like it's stupid. Is it stupid?
It is just the Wolverine's face with a giant open mouth.
fine, I guess. Is it small enough that like it closes on your hand as you reach in and then it bites you when you pull out?
If you made a fist, it would easily you could easily fist this thing.
Oh, they fixed the problem from the Dune popcorn bucket. Good job. You made it big enough you can actually use the dumb thing. Because people are like, I love the design of the Dune popcorn bucket, but holy smokes, it sucks eating popcorn out of that thing. Anyhow, all right, I got to look at this now. Dead
There is a
popcorn.
Ryan Reynolds YouTube video where he is being Deadpool with this bucket.
Apparently, there's one where you pull it out of Deadpool's ass.
Oh, really?
Did you see that one?
I did not.
Or is this AI? Dang it! In our world of AI, here. This is what I found doing a Google image search for Deadpool popcorn bucket.
That is AI.
Okay.
Just looking at the image, that looks like AI.
All right. Well, here's another one that seems more plausible.
More plausible, but still remarkably looks like AI.
Okay.
Mainly because the word Deadpool has one O.
Oh, good call. Freaking AI can't spell.
There you go. Watch
Why
the...
can't I find the one you're talking about when I search Deadpool popcorn
I
bucket?
sent you a link. I sent you a link to the video.
The whole YouTube
It's
video?
45 seconds.
There's an ad. Oh, no, there's not.
Get YouTube Red. If you want, I'll put you on my family plan if you want. If you're that.
That would be funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. So he doesn't have any teeth? It's kind of weird looking, man.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly enough, Wolverine's teeth are the only bones in his body that aren't covered in metal. Like, if he loses his teeth, they're just gone, aren't they?
No, because as we talked about, you can blow him up and he can reconstitute from a drop of blood. They don't have to, like, insert teeth every time he does that.
I like the idea of him having to go get veneers every time he's, like, gets punched
every
in the
time.
face.
Yeah. No. Where did you hear his teeth are regular? That's crazy. I mean, it logically makes sense because, like, when you're designing him to be Weapon X, obviously you're getting the big stuff, the bones, the rib cage, the arms, the legs, the skull. Then you're like, what? Teeth are weird. And they're just like, well, skip it. Skip the teeth. He doesn't need them to fight.
Right. We're not going to have him walking around looking like a mumblecore rapper with a metal grill, you know?
I mean, rule of cool, man. I think that would be great for Wolverine. That should be the design.
Maybe.
Anyway. Yeah, look. Point being, I'm just saying, there are movies that Disney's been confident about that have come out in the last couple of years that have not done well at all. So even if you're like, Deadpool is a guaranteed thing, you're like, okay, but there have been other good movies that have come out in the last year that haven't done very well. There's something going on with the movie industry as a whole. Maybe it's not our fault. Maybe we put out a great Deadpool film and we don't make our money back because the movie industry sucks. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I feel like Disney is one of those companies that is absolutely going to do financial wizardry where it's like, oh, we didn't make our money back at the box office. We'll claim this as a massive loss anyway and, like, get tax breaks.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I don't think they're crying over a couple of dud movies. And it wouldn't surprise me if they had a couple dud movies and that these are probably going to be dud movies. We'll open wide, but it's only getting, like, a 3-week run or whatever, and then it's going to Disney+. Like... And I've heard of a ton of movies recently coming out being like on streaming in under a month, like Fall Guy. That
Yeah. Nope, that was 17 days. 17? That was yep. Like the first week went poorly, and they were like, "We're putting it on streaming 9 days from now." And everybody went, "What?"
Right. And here's the wild thing: I heard good things about that movie. Like,
yes, everyone I've talked to that watched it is like, "It's really good. You should see it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's on streaming already."
Yeah.
Whatever. Anywho. So I guess my larger point here is that no film is guaranteed to do anything right now.
No.
It does hurt your reputation. I mean, I don't know. Does it? I think right now, yes. If your movie doesn't do well, it hurts your reputation. But I think if more movies start doing that and more people realize, hey, this is a good movie that normally would make a ton of money and it didn't. What is going on? Then they start looking at the larger problems that are happening and less focusing on individual studios or companies that are putting these out.
Maybe.
I think we might end up getting there.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. When is Deadpool anyway? Next month?
Cannot be soon enough.
Yeah. July 26th. All right.
Fair enough.
6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll get here when it gets here.
Yeah.
What if it comes out in Australia before you?
Probably will. They'll probably put it out in like London and all of Australia and like
June
Japan
26th.
and like in like India gets it and like the Congo gets the release and then they're like, okay, now America can have it.
I would be surprised if I would not be surprised if the ISS got it before America.
Would make me sad.
And no, I don't get it supremely early. Only July 25th. I was almost
okay.
tempted to.
And you're already a day early anyway, so that's like 2 days early.
Yeah, I suppose.
Boo. Boo, boo, boo. Anyway, it'll be fine. It'll be good. It'll be good. And I know I say this every time, but the reason Deadpool's good is because Ryan Reynolds loves and understands Deadpool. Can we just get more people involved with films when they're adapting something that understand and love the thing they're adapting?
Yeah.
Although, we had this kind of tiny conversation in the Discord server today where like I posted this video where Ella Purnell, who plays Lucy in the Fallout show, was like, I played the Fallout game and it was fun. And I knew like how cool the Pip-Boy was and how neat the uniform was. And then Walton Goggins was like, what the hell's Fallout? I just did my lines and played this character.
Did you watch Walter Goggins' video where he says he didn't?
No.
Okay, that's okay. So we'll get to that. But firstly, I felt like watching her be like, yes, I played the games, and then I realized what a big deal like this Pip-Boy and stuff was, and I'm like, but the TV show is like, here's a series of like functional vaults where everyone just has Pip-Boys. Pip-Boys are not a big deal in the TV show. It is a thing you get in the game and is kind of a big deal, but it's how you like manage your inventory. I feel like she came away with the wrong idea. She also said she played it for like a month and was level 2. So, you know, I don't think she actually played a whole lot, but I'm glad she put in the effort. Like, I'm not going to discredit that.
Or she sucks. No, you don't know. She could be terrible.
VATS. Like, you could get through the game with VATS level 2 in an hour. Like,
maybe nobody taught her how to use VATS. Maybe she's
she...
going out there and dying over and over and over again. Then you'll feel bad.
Against Radroaches in the vault? I don't think so.
Yes.
Anyway.
Are you level 2 before you get out of the vault? I didn't play Fallout 4.
I started a new game today. Just because I keep seeing a whole bunch of like YouTube shorts where it's like, what happens if you did this? And it's like, oh, that's a really cool interaction. I'd love to go and have some of those myself, and then I realize I have to play Fallout 4. Like, I have to work to get to that point in the game where I'm like dealing with all these characters and working out cool shit, and I'm just like, I don't want to do inventory management in like 9 settlements. I just don't. I looked up today that there is a console command you can use to scrap all the objects in a settlement, and I'm like, sweet, I don't have to clear land for 45 minutes. I can just do it in a blink. That really helped. But anyway, I think by the time I got out of the vault, I had only needed to kill a couple things, and then you could do it by getting XP discovering towns, right? Like, it's not hard to get to level 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably didn't spend a ton of time playing it.
Probably not, but I'm glad she made the effort. Anyway, Walter Goggins said he didn't want to play it, and he sat down and talked to Todd Howard about that, and saying how he didn't want the burden of having to be, like, game accurate on him. He wanted to be able to approach it in an acting method that he's familiar with, but he was confident with the team around him were people who knew how to play it, or had played it, and knew what they were doing. Like, he came at it from a very respectable position as well, where he's like, I'm not going to play it because I know everyone else has, and I just don't need that burden on me while I'm trying to do this character who I've invented in my own imagination, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. Because also, he's playing a ghoul. If you wanted to play Fallout and, like, beeline it to the nearest walking, talking ghoul, none of them would be as cool as Walter Goggins. Like,
right. Anyway,
Anyway.
he's great. So yeah, you know what? You can totally be involved in a project and not know anything about it, be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe try to be as good of an actor as Walton Goggins is, and then you'll be all right.
So I'm just like Ryan Reynolds is listed as a producer on Deadpool, but he's not like a
Mm.
writer. He didn't direct it. Like, how much did he do? That's what I want to
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. My understanding. I don't know. My understanding is there's a lot of improvisation going on.
Okay.
Like he's just like, what would Deadpool do in this scene? Go. And I think
I
I
don't
don't
like
know.
that.
Maybe just to have veto on anything, like any scene, any line, anything that happens. Maybe that's not something Deadpool would do. Change it. You know what I mean?
Sure. I guess.
I don't know because all I know is that they kept putting Deadpool in movies and he sucked. And then they gave Ryan Reynolds the movie and it was great. That's all I know.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: they put Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in an X-Men movie, and it sucked.
They did.
It's not like just having him on standby. It was he evidently like I don't think he's listed as a producer on X-Men Origins, right?
Right. Right.
So clearly he has some level of input, but it's like how much of his dick are we going to suck versus giving credit to literally anyone else in that production for being, as instrumental as he was.
I don't know. As soon as a writer comes forward and says, I'm the biggest Deadpool fan in the universe and I'm the reason these movies are good, then we'll look at him or her. Like, whatever. I'll listen to that person. Why not?
Rhett Reese. That's
Is that the lead writer?
that is one of the writers. Yes. I'm trying to see what else he's done.
Okay.
He did Deadpool, Deadpool 2, Deadpool Wolverine, Zombie,
Sorry, what else?
Zombieland.
Oh, Zombie. Wait, is Zombieland good?
Yeah, Zombieland's good.
Which one is Zombieland?
That's
Oh,
um,
yeah, it's the first one. Right.
yeah. He also did.
Well, that is good. Oh, man. And Zombieland's pretty Deadpool, too.
He did Monsters Inc.
He wrote for Monsters, Inc.?
Yeah, he's listed as a writer on Monsters Inc.
He's got an all right resume, then, yeah.
He did Six Underground, which is another Ryan Reynolds movie, which is shit.
Ha!
'Cause it's
I don't even.
it's a Michael Bay movie. Like,
Oh.
yeah.
What is it? What's it about?
Here, I'll read you the plot. 4 years after witnessing the horrors of a brutal regime in the fictional Central Asian nation of Turkestan, American billionaire and philanthropist Magnet S. Johnson, who made his fortune from boring, basically
Wait, made his money from what?
neodymium magnets, which is why he's called
don't-
Magnet.
Super
it-
magnets. Okay, got it.
They're just rare earth metals. It's fine. I have some on my fridge. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds basically assembles like a mercenary team to go and like save small nation states from dictators. I believe it or not, I've seen this movie.
Yeah, I mean, you made it clear you had seen it. Yes.
Yeah, it does not leave an impact.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, which is sort of, again, like Reynolds has been in a bunch of bad stuff. So the fact that the Deadpool movies work, to me, is more evidence that, like, he has some creative control here because he's very capable of, like, doing what other people tell him to do and have it be terrible.
All right. He's
He's okay with that.
He's also been on a lot of really good stuff where he's just doing what other people are telling him to do.
Right.
Shenanigans. That movie is
Totally.
not called Shenanigans. The bar in the movie is called Shenanigans. The movie is called Waiting, I believe.
The bar's called Shenanigans?
Yes, which is
That's great.
for some reason that's why I remember. Yeah,
Is it a Super Trooper reference? Like, are they making that clear?
I've seen Super Troopers. When did Super Troopers come out?
Oh, man. First Super Troopers was 2001.
So it was 4 years later that this movie was made.
It could be.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because there's just that scene where all the cops keep talking about shenanigans and how their shenanigans are funny and cool, and other people's shenanigans are tragic and lame. And then their captain goes, "The next person that says shenanigans, I'm gonna pistol whip within an inch of their life." Then they call in the other guy from the other room. Hey, Farvara, what's that restaurant we used to go to with all the crap on the walls? And he goes, "Oh, Shenanigans.
That is absolutely, yes, it is a reference. They have a
Okay.
what are those called where you have like a series of very intricate doodads that like domino effect down a wall? They have one of those on the bar in Shenanigans in Waiting.
Okay.
So, yes, I feel
Yep.
like it is a direct reference.
And only 4 years later too. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
That's great. How do we anyway? Deadpool's gonna be good. Yeah, I mean, are we ever getting another Wolverine? Or like when Hugh Jackman dies, or just gonna be like, no one can ever play Wolverine again. I'm sorry. You know, he's just so Wolverine at this point. He's been doing it for 25 years, longer.
Yeah.
When was the first X-Men movie?
2001, I want to say, yeah.
1997, Somicron.
Wow! I was 4. Jesus Christ.
Wait. Was I wrong? Did I read a wrong thing? Let me get the Wikipedia up. No, the year 2000.
Oh, okay. I was
So
much
3 years
closer.
later than I said. Yeah, so 20. He's been playing Wolverine for 24 years. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like if they cast someone else, everyone's just going to be like, nope, not my Wolverine.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like the comic book people who are, in theory, the core audience of this movie will not care because it's just a different artist drawing him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the comic book nerds are a different group from the movie nerds at this point, though.
Yeah, that's, I suppose, yeah.
And comic book nerds never have to. I mean, you're right. It's a different artist drawing the character a bunch of times over the years. Mm-hmm. But it's not that different. Like, I don't know that Logan in '94 is all that different from Logan in 2022.
I would be willing to bet you were wrong there. I bet in 1994, Wolverine looked significantly different than he does now, and that is because they would now draw him to look more Hugh Jackman-esque. I think they would shift to match those, just to have parody. Be like, oh, this is a Wolverine character. I would not be surprised.
I'm gonna look up a comic panel from 2024 with Logan.
Okay.
This is difficult because there are movies that are coming out that are named this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hang on. Wolverine comic 2024. I mean, the thing is, he wears a mask.
Well, just find one without a mask.
It's tough. He has a mask on a lot. Like everything I'm looking at, he's wearing this stupid mask. Here's one where it's half off. Let's do that.
Sure.
I don't know if that helps. Here's what I found.
Yeah.
Right?
That's okay. That's Sabretooth War. I think that's where everyone's genes go feral.
Dang it.
Either that or what I'm seeing in this photo is it's actually only half Wolverine, half Sabretooth, and they've mashed their faces together. Like they're doing a side-by-side thing.
Here's one.
He's got a lot of facial hair on one side of his face, not the other.
Right.
That looks a hell of a lot like Hugh Jackman.
So look at the family photo he's standing on.
Yes, that looks like Hugh Jackman.
That's a better look at his face.
That looks like Hugh Jackman to me. Especially with the dad bod of him standing up. Yeah, that's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Compare that to issue number 1 of Wolverine's first comic appearance. There you go. Right there, I sent you it.
Oh.
That does not look like Hugh Jackman. They look like the same character in between these two photos. But one is, I don't know, very 90s. And one is Hugh
Definitely. Yeah. And yes, definitely looks like this. I mean, and then there's the X-Men TV show from the 90s that they're rebooted for now. But yeah, so the TV show, the kids cartoon from the 90s looks more like that. So yeah, there's always been the effect of comics on TV, the effect of movies on comics and vice versa. And everything just kind of borrows off each other for sure.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't know. It could just be me, but I'm so used to having characters that just are played by different actors all the time, like the Doctor or whatever. I'm not going to care that there's a new Wolverine, you know, or James Bond, or the Joker.
Yeah.
Especially after Heath Ledger's Joker, which was incredible, and people were like, no one should ever play the Joker again. But they'll have to.
Yeah, except there'd already been 3 dudes who'd played the Joker already
True.
before Ledger took over.
Sure. Has no one else played the Wolverine?
Not in live action.
Not even like in like the 70s Tank Girl movie or whatever? There's no like...
Is Wolverine in the Tank Girl movie?
I don't think so, but I'm just like...
Oh.
You know, it'd be nice to know. These are all animated. Tell me there's more than one live action. Doesn't look like it.
No.
There's one live action. That's just good old Hugh Jackman. I think who's the guy from the Mechanic film? What's his name? Jason Statham. He could play a Wolverine. He's short. He's angry.
Yeah. He's got the like kind of
furry.
rugged face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that.
I'd be down.
Yeah. I mean, that's the trick about Wolverine. He's not an incredibly in-depth character. So there's not like a long list of character traits you need to get right to play Wolverine.
If you wanted to like fully reboot him, he has amnesia for a while, which is great because Jason Statham is also not a good actor.
Right.
He just needs to look confused a bunch and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got that.
I'm pissed off. I want to stab something. It's like, oh, that's him. We got him.
Get away from
Nailed
me,
it.
bub.
Yeah. Just say bub every once in a while.
Bub.
Just be angry all the time.
Yep, perfect.
Although there's the Logan Wolverine where he does care about other people and like kind of adopts little girl and he's sad about Patrick Stewart dying and like there's a lot more stuff going on in there.
Right. But that's after like 30, 40 years of adventures, right? And having a memory. Like
30, 40 years. How old do you think Wolverine is?
he doesn't age.
Right.
Right. But like
I'm not talking about how
but after he's like
how many years has he been alive? How many years has he had an animated skeleton?
40 years? Because that's the point, isn't it? He gets his memory wiped when he gets the skeleton.
It's like the hang on.
If you say he gets the adamantine skeleton in the 1800s, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Okay, so does his entire memory get wiped when that happens?
Yep. He has absolutely no memory of who he was before that. He wakes up in like a barn, and the plot of that movie happens, and then he's like, then it's straight into the original X-Men movie.
So this Reddit post says 1950.
Yeah, is that a comic book reference? Like, is it that one happened in the comic
Yeah.
books? Because like William Stryker does it to him, and William Stryker is like in his 40s or 50s when he's doing it. You know.
Right. I don't know. Anyway, point is, so Logan is kind of gently sci-fi, right? It's our future. It's not like crazy in the future. So it's like what, 20? It is. So it's like, because there's like self-driving trucks, but there's no like, it's a, well, yeah. It's a term that I actually got from Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because their final season was set in the future, and there were like some kind of like, you know, science fiction-y elements, but like it's not crazy we're on Mars stuff, right?
Right.
So the writers called it gently sci-fi.
That's funny.
So it's gently sci-fi. There's self-driving trucks,
Well,
but it's still our world, you know what I mean?
why are there self-driving trucks, but he works as a limo driver?
Because
Why can't you have a self-driving limo?
Because there was a time where horses got replaced as the main source of transportation by cars, but we still had horses around. There's an overlapping period every time this happens. So when we get self-driving trucks, there will be people still driving.
Sure.
But that'll just
But for
shrink
how long?
as we... I don't know. That's the thing. It's an overlapping period, and eventually one gets phased out, and the other one continues on.
Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway, so it's like what? 2030? 2040? 35?
2040.
For Logan?
2040, I would say.
2040. So Stryker's 40 years old when he does Weapon X in the movies.
Logan is set in 2029. Turns out we can just look that up.
2029?
Yeah.
That seems ambitious. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently, in the plot, that there have been no mutants born in 25 years,
Right.
which I did not know or at least
You
didn't
watched the
remember.
movie.
I watched the movie, but it's like I kind of forgot that like part of the plot of that movie is mutants just went away. You know.
Yeah, which is weird stuff. But it's comics, man. Weird stuff happens in the comics. Because they run out of ideas, and then they're like, we're going to run with this one. And it works out sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. Enough comic book movie chitter-chattering. Is it Warhammer time then?
Yeah. Warhammer.
There's something else you wanted to cover for the...
No, I don't think
in the
anything
MCU.
else. I don't think there was anything else.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, I'm super stoked for the Thunderbolts movie that Disney's making and the Blade movie. Whew. Boy, I could just talk for minutes about that.
I like a lot of people in the Thunderbolts movie.
I have literally no idea what it is.
It takes a bunch of kind of villains, softer villains from the MCU that have already showed up and like puts them on a team.
Oh, it's
So it's got Red Guardian. Yep. So it's got Red Guardian from the Black Widow with David Harbour, which is great. Apparently Bucky's involved for some reason as the Winter Soldier. We've got Yelena,
good opportunity.
Florence Pugh's character.
A good opportunity to waste Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Who else is in that thing?
I did not want to talk
Phasing
about
Ghost
this.
Lady from Ant-Man 2.
Oh wow, Ghost. Oof.
Yeah, the one that I forgot existed.
I'm thoroughly excited to see her disappear again. I did not want to talk about this.
Okay,
Oh,
my
Wyatt
point is
Russell will be U.S. agent again.
right.
Wow.
There are some characters I'm kind of interested in, but I don't know that it's going to be good. Julie Louis-Dreyfus is in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, she's kind of.
She's
I'll
great.
pay attention to her.
Yeah, because she's great.
Yeah, she's great. Okay.
All right, Fear to Dread. Let's go.
By James Swallow,
James Swallow.
who looked at 30K and said, "How can I make this relate to all of the books I wrote 10 years ago for 40K?"
Correct. So we kind of had a bit of a discussion about this earlier, but in short, Samacron was like, he's just writing all the characters that he does in 40K, but in 30K, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then I have the afterword that you don't have access to in your audiobook. And that's exactly what he says. He says, when the Horus Heresy project kicked off, I was already writing about the Blood Angels. And the deeper I went into the character of their chapter and the rich history of their legionary foundation, I found the more I wanted to peel back the layers and find the true heart of their story.
Which
There
he
you
does.
go.
He doesn't do. He doesn't find the true heart of their story. He finds his own stories, like
Ooh, I lost you. Didn't find the heart of the story. Found what?
his own stories. That's all he found. He peeled back the layer and found his own things, right?
Isn't that that's what an author does?
There's no change. There's no true heart. It's the same heart.
So I think he just gives explanations for reasons why certain characters are the way they are and why the Blood Angels are the way they are.
I'm going to tell you right now. I have future knowledge in this story.
Yes, you do.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely every character is not mentioned again in the Horus Heresy. They're all just tie-ins to his own shit. Which,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say shit. They're probably very good novels, right? But like, hey, you want to know what happens with the Red Angel? Nope. Just a thing that relates back to one of his other books. Maris taking out his own gene seed just to cover something that happens in one of his own books.
Right.
Every single plot point is just like, this needs to happen because I wrote about it happening already. Kabanda and the goat lady, villains from his own books.
Yeah. Okay. So you're mad because stuff he does in here doesn't relate to future Heresy books.
Well, I mean, Kabanda does. He shows up in the Heresy. Right?
Okay.
He's kind of a demon with a heart on specifically for the Blood Angels. And knowing like if you read Echoes of Eternity where he shows up later, he's really interesting in that as a standalone thing because I'm not like he's just like a demon that hates the Blood Angels. I'm like, okay, I guess that's kind of his thing. He's a demon that like he's referenced in Fear to Tread or whatever. I didn't know that he was also now in 40k and he's only in Fear to Tread because he's in 40k, right? Like he felt much more interesting rather than like we need to like write a reason for him to be around in 40k.
Okay, so you just don't like that he's writing explanations for stuff that he already came up with in the 40k books.
I don't like that that's all this book is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? Like
Yeah.
there's no one original. Like Raldoron already like in other books. Not in 40k, like he doesn't live to 40k, but like what is it? Amit, the Flesh Terror?
Uh-huh.
Like I
Amit's
know
cool.
he's cool. I know of him already because he, after Gulliman breaks up the legions, he gets his own one called. He gets a chapter called "The Flesh Terrors," right?
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I know. I get it. I get what you're saying here. I get what you're throwing down. Yeah, and I mean the problem is I haven't read about the Blood
Right.
Angels in 40k, so for me it's like, oh, all right, this is an interesting story.
Two very different perspectives, and like I still think the story's fine. I think it's well written. I wasn't bored by the characters. I wasn't annoyed by any of them. I was maybe a little annoyed that we didn't get a consistent human point of view. Like everything is from the point of view of the Astartes.
Except for a couple, there is a little bit of human perspective.
I didn't say we didn't get any humans. I just said we didn't get a consistent one all the way through. Like we get one and they're on screen, on audio, or on page for like a chapter before they kill themselves, or like pushed aside so that other people can do the things, or literally looked upon as a piece of equipment that needs to be carried around like a piece of baggage.
Right. But then eventually reaches the point where he acknowledges her as a human.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
But only just barely. And like, but what that does is it means everything we get is from the Astartes point of view, and the Astartes from their own point of view makes it all feel very normal, and rather than like supremely horrific legionary deployments, monstrous things like of just horror and trauma. That doesn't happen. It feels like all the combat engagements here are just like a bunch of buddies on the battlefield who like they're all friends with each other more or less. There's a couple of like interactions where they're like, oh, the warden, he's looking at me like I'm about to use psychic magic, and I certainly sort of maybe was. But beyond that, everyone's just like, hey buddy, hey friend, good to see you made it through this one too. This very normal outing that we all do as Space Marines.
Yeah. Oh, until the blood rage consumes them all and things get real bad there for a minute.
Sure, the Red Thirst, and like they end up on a planet and they have to fight a bunch of demons, and they all fall to the Red Thirst because they think Sanguinius is dead. But
And then they murder some space wolves and they're about to murder each other. It gets pretty dark.
it gets a bit dark, but it doesn't.
Like there's that moment where they're like, we've killed all the demons, and then they start looking around. And what is the wording is like, and they don't see each other as brothers, they see each other as like petty competitors.
The competitors, and they're reminded of all the petty slights are real or imagined, and
Yeah.
like it's. Good
And I was like, oh no.
It's good there. There's a genuine bit of like a bit of tension, but up until that point, it didn't feel like I was particularly concerned that like going to war meant something for these people. They were just like, all right, off to do a job.
Yeah, they're part of the crusade. They've been doing this for 200 years. What do you want? Oh, it's new and fresh experience. Go to a planet, kill some stuff.
I want a human point of view to make war scary, because war is supposed to be scary.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair. More humans. And I'm with you on this. I do think some of the better parts in a bunch of the books we've read have been human perspectives on what's going on. Absolutely. So I hear you.
Okay.
My general complaint is just that we go from a legion that doesn't believe in demons and in the powers that be and in all this magic stuff, and we have to go through the whole book where they finally come to terms with it as real. And I'm like, okay, how many times have we done this in the Heresy? How many different legions have we had go through this exact same experience? Are we done yet? Do all the legions know about the bad stuff out there, or are there still ones that don't know what's going on?
There are probably still ones that don't know what's
Ugh.
like. We haven't read the intro to the White Scars, so the White
It's
Scars will
true.
have to learn about demons. Although,
But
so White Scars are one of the legions that were like on board with having a librarius program, like the who kind of maybe know what's out there, having had like I think they call them Stormcallers or something, right?
so are the Blood Angels. They had their own dudes.
They had their own dudes, but I didn't phrase it right. They were one of the legions in charge of developing the librarians,
Oh,
right? So that's like
right. With
Magnus,
along with the Thousand Suns. Yeah.
yeah, Thousand Suns, the White Scars, and I don't want to say Blood Angels because it might be Blood Angels now. But like I'm just saying that they have a more shamanistic approach, like the Space Wolves, to Psychers, and so it might be that like the Space Wolves totally know that there are monsters in the warp, right? Like they get that. They've the Space Wolf that goes flying in with the Thousand Sun, right? Where he saves Araman. He's like, yeah, there are predators in the Great Ocean. Like we get that. The Space Wolves never have to have like a demons are real. I am shooketh kind of moment, you know.
Thank goodness.
So
I'm very excited for that.
maybe the White Scars don't either.
That'd be nice. I'd be okay with that because seriously, there's so much in this book where they're like, demons aren't real. Everything's fine. They show up in this obviously warped, fucked solar system, and they're like, no, it's just a new phenomenon. And everyone's gradually like, we don't have any scientific explanation for any of this. It's like,
Right.
nope, there's probably an explanation. We just don't know what it is.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, can you please figure this out? Killing me.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
It is a good time. Yeah, get a bunch of Sanguinius, which is nice because I didn't have any concept of who he was at all at this
Right.
point. We hadn't
Yeah.
spent any time with the guy.
So again, I am like burdened by other knowledge, in which I think Sanguinius is maybe better represented in other books. I think so he's like briefly in Horus Rising, like they're on murder, and Sanguinius is like, "Hey brother, I'm gonna go home now. Thanks for saving my dudes."
Right.
But I think my first introduction was in I want to say it's the book. I literally mentioned this book already. The other book that I mentioned already. Oh god. It's gonna kill me if I can't look this up. Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Eternity Gate. Is that what? What book's called? Like Eternity Gate is a place, and Sanguinius is definitely there. But is that what the book's called? Fuck me. Echoes of Eternity.
Oh,
There we go.
okay.
Yeah, Echoes of Eternity. There's a brief flashback where we get to Sanguinius meeting the Emperor and then meeting his Legion. And I think that is context that is really interesting for this book. Because he has some talk with the demon, and the demon's like, hey, the Chaos has marked you already. Check out your sick wings. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
like, it's a... Do you care for minor spoilers about, like, the upcoming Sanguinius stuff you're going to learn? It's very minor. It's not.
All right, go ahead.
Which is when the Emperor meets Sanguinius. Sanguinius is like, you seem to be looking an awful lot at my wings. Is there something wrong with me? And the Emperor is like, well...
Classic Emperor stuff.
Right. He plays it off and he's like, no, you are exactly how I brought you. But he's definitely like, he could just be admiring how the wings turned out. Or he could be like, I didn't give you wings. What the hell is this? Like,
Right.
we are secular and you have wings.
Yeah, but additionally, I lost you all for a long time. You got dumped on some planet. So, like, who knows what happened to you while you were out there?
Right. And it's
Yeah.
it's context that, like, demons playing with Sanguinius's I don't know, his emotions surrounding his physical mutations with the Emperor when he is also concerned with the Red Thirst as a mutation, and his like entire legion potentially being censured or destroyed and stricken from the records. Another empty plinth in the hegemon, so to speak. I feel like that's kind of needed here, and it's not in that book.
Right. That would be good.
Yeah.
Because there are some references to Baal, to their home planet, and some of the stuff. Like, we existed before Sanguinius, and there's all these references to it, but not a lot of what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
I do like the through line in the book about how Horus is like, you can't turn Sanguinius. You're going to have to kill him. I promise. And the enemy is like, no, but it'd be so cool to turn Sanguinius. It would be awesome for us. And he's like, you can't do it. And then there's the inference that, like, you just don't want to rival. Like, Horus, you would be rivaled by Sanguinius's power and
right.
what he can do. You wouldn't be the special boy anymore.
So there is a tiny little brief chapter in this where it cuts to Ulanor and Horus being coronated as Warmaster, and he's like, people will say it should have been you. People will have that opinion. What he's saying there, if you remember back to like Galaxy in Flames or Horus Rising, when he gives his like deathbed confession to Mercedes Allerton, is he says it should have been Sanguinius. He
Right.
thinks that, and so
Right.
he thinks at this moment he thinks that if Sanguinius can be turned, he should lead the rebellion, right? Like, and he doesn't want to be replaced, right?
Yep.
Which is very funny because he changes his opinion on this, is all I'm going to say by the end of the books, is he's maybe like totally down to sway Sanguinius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He maybe has
That's
a
fun.
little change of heart. I mean, he goes crazy with warp power, but by then, right? Like, gets utterly warp fucked and is hiding in his own memories or something, right? Like, it's very, very warp shenanigans.
Makes sense.
But yeah, he's like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to say any more than that. Like, I think it's very interesting that like, as a hive mind writing the Horus Heresy, that they changed their mind on this, because it feels like this book is an attempt to turn him, and then while Horus is saying no, you can't turn him, and then in the end they try to turn him, and it's interesting how they go about it in different ways. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's really fun, really well written by the end of the series.
Yeah. And then they almost got it here. Sanguinius was very willing to save his legion. He was going to do it. He was.
Yep.
If Maris isn't there, he does it.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, they got super close. It's entirely doable. Just got to be like, do you want to save your legion, Sanguinius? Do you, boy? Do you? And then he goes, yes, that's all I want to do. And it's like, you moron. We had this discussion already. But I was annoyed by this. But then Samikron was like, well, but. And there were some reasons why it's understandable. And I get it. It is understandable. Because again, I've got kids. I understand the concept of self-sacrifice for my sons and my daughter. Like, I get it.
Magnus did the same thing. He let Russ break his back and then like trying to save his own legion. Like,
Right.
and like that's why you went to Siege and Chaos. Like, it's how most of the Primarchs fall. They just want to save their kids.
Is that a most?
Maybe just those two. I think Mortarion technically also did it to like save his kids in the Death Guard. His turning is like half rewritten all the time, because it's like, well, was he tricked by Typhus, or did he know what he was doing? And he's like, it's a bit of both, you know.
Yeah, it's complicated.
It's complicated. Who else?
Angron wouldn't.
No.
Angron would not.
No, Angron did not do it. He didn't
Right.
fall to save his kids. He wouldn't do it.
Gilliman
Perturabo-
probably would.
Oh, I'm just trying to like work down the heresy ones. The ones that actually turned traitor.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that Gilliman would. I don't know that he would.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think Gilliman's too firmly rooted in like administratum of like, how do you have a running empire? Chaos is not it. And he's like, okay, if it's between me, a supreme administrator, and a running functional empire for humanity, or another transhuman half demon mix of Space Marines, I'm gonna pass. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
I think
You're probably right.
I don't think he would. Let's see, who else sounds traitor? Alfarius? No, I like.
No.
Well, actually, weirdly, maybe. Because, like, the whole thing with the Alpha Legion is that anyone can claim to be Alfarius at any time. And so, even if Alfarius the Primarch dies, they're still going to claim that they have a Primarch.
Yeah. That would be fun. That'd be really fun. Chaos is like, we have your Primarch. And like, no, you don't.
You know? So,
Alpha Legion is so annoying.
do you want to know how that works on the tabletop? Which is,
Okay, go ahead.
you have all your regular Space Marine squads, you put them wherever you deploy, and at one point you just get to go, no, that guy there, that's Alfarius. But until that, he's like, then you just swap the model out for the Primarch one.
Okay, but then if the Primarch gets killed, can you go, no, actually, this guy is Alfari?
I think you can.
That's fantastic.
It's
What about Omegron? Would Omegron do it?
same thing.
Same guy.
Same guy.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Conrad Kurz definitely wouldn't. Horus might have at one point. I don't know. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
No. Lorgar, I think, is too self-important. Like, he's willingly damning his sons for his own gain. I don't think he's sacrificing shit.
Definitely not Logar.
Yeah. Who have we missed?
The Lion. Oh, wait, no, we're talking about heretical guys.
Yeah. The Lion. Yeah, there's a 0 chance there. Your words were a little too on the nose. You don't even know it. No, I don't think the Lion would sacrifice himself for his sons. Anyway, that's not important. So, this book, I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. It's fine. That's what I'm going to say about this book.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What else are we missing from the book? There's a pariah they find.
Erebus steals a body that Fabulous Bile has been experimenting on to make the MacGuffin at the end that Maris sacrifices himself into. That's where he gets the Blood Angel Space Marine. Like, at the start of the book, he's like, hey, Fabulous, I'm going to borrow some stuff, and if you don't let me, I'm going to tell everyone that you've been stealing they're dead, or near dead.
Which I feel like is a conversation we've had between these two characters before. I feel like Erebus is wandering down there a lot.
Quite possibly. I mean, at this point, I think he's got a magic knife that lets him in and out of anywhere, so why he had to ask, I don't know. Just go when he's not there. So Erebus is very much trying to turn Sanguinius. Like, in the last book we read, there was a big talking point that Sanguinius was rebuked by Horus for trying, and
Right.
he's wearing this creepy mask, and now we know why, because he tells Horus that if you hadn't interfered, we would have had Sanguinius on our side. We would have had this really cool weapon to use. We would have had his...
And he calls him out for being like, you're insecure about Sanguinius. You didn't want a rival. Yeah,
Right.
I'm like, Erebus, buddy.
Buddy.
There are things you really don't want to bring up with Horus right now.
And possibly one of the most satisfying scenes we'll ever get involving Erebus is Horus flaying his face.
Cuts a line with his own obsidian knife across his forehead, grabs it and goes, which, not sure if that's technically possible, but maybe.
It is in Warhammer.
Yeah, it is in Warhammer. Where there is magic and Space Marines and Primarchs.
Yep.
Yeah.
But woof.
Yeah, and I love that Erebus is like, done fucked up. But it's like, but I can't run and I can't get out of it, so here goes nothing.
He's like, I'll just have to like try and stand my ground and let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the one thing I think that like, is important to kind of note about this book and the Blood Angels, which is, again, these books are written from people who have read 40k and know all about 40k,
Yes.
but you won't know, which is something called the Black Rage. So they have two gene seed flaws, it turns out. The Red Thirst, which is the compulsion to drink blood, and the Black Rage. The Black Rage comes about later, you'll find out, but it's very important that this book sets up just how like psychically linked Sanguinius is with all of his troops, and vice versa. So like on the battle in Cygnus Prime, Karbanda kills 500 Space Marines with a single swing of his sword. He like sucks their souls out, and this makes Sanguinius comatose. And then Sanguinius being comatose basically like it exacerbates the Red Thirst in all of the Legion. Like even his personal guard are shamed by the fact that they eventually left their post to go and just slaughter.
Right.
I think that connection is something important to note for later, but it's a thing that's like it's a thing that sets up the Black Death, the Black Rage, not the Black Death. But it's a thing that like everyone knows about in 40k. So I'm like tiptoeing around very open spoilers for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, because he does. I mean, there's a moment Sanguinius is kind of thinking to himself, like, do my other Primarch brothers feel this connection to their sons? And I was like, nope, not generally. No, not that I've seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
No. So in Master of Mankind, there was a Blood Angel who had like bad augmentations.
Okay.
And he wasn't in this book, right? Zephon,
No.
the Sorrow Bringer of Sorrow, which there's a thing that's true about the Blood Angels that I feel like was not talked about in this book at all, and probably wasn't in the Master of Mankind with Blood Angels. But they're all gorgeous, like they're all absolutely angelic beauty, and I feel like that doesn't get talked about enough. Because like this is a marble bust apparently of Zephon from that other book, and like he is just, I mean he's cracked up a little bit there, but he's just stone statue. But he's clearly wildly attractive for a Space Marine. Like they're all described as being like overly broad with latent giganticism from all the growth hormones, but the Blood Angels aren't that. They're like statuesque perfect people, and I feel like again this book doesn't do a very good job of making the Blood Angels feel like their own thing at times. They just feel like a legion and a bunch of buddies, and like we don't get any look at them pre-Sanguinius. So how did they change after Sanguinius was like reunited, and like how did their culture change? We get none of that, and a part of that is their cultures, because that's the thing they get from Sanguinius, and I was disappointed not to have even a tiny little bit of homoerotic Space Marines going around in this book. It would have been nice.
Fair enough.
It's a perfect place for it. Why wouldn't they?
I mean, yeah. Yes, that's where it should go.
Because I mean, look at that picture of him.
Yep.
God,
He's looking pretty good. Very
pretty.
Roman.
But I mean, he's just a statue.
Right.
Statues make you Roman?
I mean, a lot of Roman statues are less, I mean, they're attractive, less ugly than.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Anyhow, what book are we reading next?
So there's that Warhammer book bundle that we picked up from
Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle. Yep.
Now, I pointed this out to you because it did contain a couple of books that we will read at some point, but they're not
Right.
necessarily the ones that are next down the line right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
That doesn't mean we couldn't skip to them, but I feel like we've been slowly working towards more Ultramarine stuff and more Dark Angel stuff because we were in a row. And now we're finally up to the Unremembered Empire, which I think is where Salamanders meet Wordbearers, meet Ultramarines, meet Dark Angels, meet Night Lords.
That sounds like a whole mess.
Yeah, I've heard this book feels a bit like a superhero movie, where you have a galactic white civil war and somehow 9 Primarchs end up on one planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alternatively, we can read that introduction to the White Scars book, the White Scars, and then I think we're done with like Legion introductions. No, we're not. We still haven't done. We've kind of gotten enough of the Imperial Fists. Like you know roughly what Dawn's about, don't you?
Certainly do.
We just
Yeah.
haven't really read a book from their perspective yet.
Not so much, no.
We also haven't done Raven Guard, but they're terrible. We don't need to read Raven Guard. like.
Okay.
Like if the Night Lords are Edge Lords, the Raven Guard are emo.
Yeah.
They're
Nope.
just depressive and emo, and like oh god, Korax is
tracks.
gone.
All right, cool. We'll do Unremembered Empire then.
Unremembered Empire. Gotcha.
Dan Abnett, let's go.
Yeah. Whew. All right.
And I get $3 off because I've been buying all these books on Amazon.
You're
Hooray.
not even gonna check the library for it?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Not there.
Not there.
No. Oh, there is a way I can use my other Amazon points here. I didn't see that last time. Oh, that will make this easier.
Oh, excellent.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Did I grab it? Yep. There it is.
Excellent.
So I use dark mode
Yeah.
for my reading, and this like ad for Kindle just popped up on the Kindle app, and it's white. Like, hey. Dark mode.
Amazon's trying to flashbang you. Cool.
Yeah, and they did successfully. I mean, phone flashbang is not as bad as like a screen flashbang.
That is true, but there's occasionally I'm like reading my phone in bed and the lights are out and it's just my phone and I also read in dark mode. So if there was suddenly a white light there, I'd probably find it just as bad because my phone's like this far from my face while I'm reading. You know.
Gotcha.
So much of my field of vision is just phone at that point.
Yeah, it was basically a big screen at that point. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's another just random point. So Elden Ring has a big Namco splash screen that's just white as can be.
Right.
People have been hating on that since Elden Ring came out, and they're getting rid of it for the DLC. So people are very happy about that.
Yay.
No more getting flashbang when you launch up Elden Ring anymore.
Excellent. That's good to know.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Let's wrap it up then.
Let's wrap it up. Actually, one last thing that I want to say is there was like a whole bunch of video games announced that like an IGN game show. They had like Xbox Showcase, Nintendo. There is going to be a new Gears of War game called E-Day, which is based around Emergence Day from when the Grubs all came up. I am a huge Gears of War fan, but please, for the love of fucking God, just put games 2, 3, and 4 on Steam. Please.
They're Xbox then.
They're on the Xbox, yeah.
So one's out on Steam, but not 2, 3, or 4?
Yeah, 4 is out on PC through the Microsoft Store, so you can still get it there. But 1 and 5 are on Steam.
What? Be consistent, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
That's really funny.
it's great. I love this. Actually, 1 might not be on Steam. Might also be on the freaking also on the Xbox Store, the Microsoft Store, or whatever it is. Gears of War 1.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, that's my plea. Just I'm putting it out there in the universe to just port them because I really want to play them, but I don't want to get out my Xbox. My Gears of War exclusive Xbox that I have. Okay, that is how much I like Gears of War. Please.
Well, and Microsoft has been all about putting games on PC and Xbox the last couple of years. That's what they've been talking big about. So maybe, yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. They immediately were like, hey, there's a new one coming. You can wishlist it on Steam. It's going to be on Xbox as well. Like, straight away, that's like their thing. Like, hey, either platform, go for it. But
yeah.
not the like, you want to play the other games? Nah, you're screw yourself. Actually, there's actually another game that they need to bring over, not just 2, 3, and 4 or 1. Ideally, I want them all on Steam, but if, like, the Microsoft Store is where they're at, fine, I'll get Game Pass to play them there. But there's actually another one called Gears of War Judgment, which I think was universally panned, but I think it's pretty fun.
Well, you are a Gears of War fan, so it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
funny.
yeah, we can wrap it up now. I've put out my plea.
All right, deal. I hope it works out for you. Cool. So that is going to be it from us today. This has been Falcon Paladin Summicron with another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour. Check us out at twitch.tv/Summicron every week. We're out here. What's up, Bovine Slime? Thanks for stopping by. You can find the VODs at youtube.com/@Summicron, and supporting the podcast is possible at patreon.com/Summicron and by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. So thanks again. We'll catch you in a week or so with another Warhammer book, more StarCraft 2, more, I don't know, talking about the MCU, maybe, who knows?
Who knows?
And until then, stay safe and stay healthy. And above all, take care of yourselves.